Hi folks, I'm going to be going over some of these pages. Page 100, the major scale. At this point in a course of study, the main point of this is fingering patterns. Top of the page, they explain the scale. Here's a half step and a half step. If you take music theory, this is something you'll be working with. For our purposes, we don't need to dive too deeply into the theory. The point of this page is to practice the fingering patterns. We call this crossing over. We cross over. You have 5 fingers. The octave has 8 notes. To play that scale, you need to cross. Left hand, the scale goes down, but we're going to run out of fingers, so we cross over. This exercise is a crossover practice. Sorry about bumping that note. Next page is the C major scale. You start like this. This is middle C. They call it pass 1 under 3. Crossover. Left hand's a mirror image. So you want to work on that for that pattern of crossing over. Now, I believe I mentioned in, I don't know if it was actually a handout or just something I listed in the little section in Blackboard. This is all new to me, so I'm not sure I even know the terminology. But Joy to the World, the purpose of this song in this book is to give a song as an example that has a melody that's made up out of scales. So, it's like not the holiday season. The arrangement itself, I don't really find it's that good of arrangement. The purpose is to teach how a scale could be used in a song. I'm just going to play a little bit for you and you can see that scale. I grew up in a religion where I heard that song at Christmas time. So I recognize that. Probably many of you will. It's just the scale, but there's different note values and rhythms, and that's what makes it sound like Joy to the World and not C scale. So I'm going to pick up then the right hand. And now the right hand has a scale. And left. Then it's completed without really much emphasis on the scale as a whole. So it wouldn't be a bad idea to look this over, but if you're behind, I wouldn't worry about this page. Page 104. This is a page that goes into a little bit more information about the chords, goes into triads, it explains them a little bit. It's focusing on root position, and it gives examples. In a root position chord, the name of the chord is the bottom note. And you think of a tree, the root of the tree is the bottom. So that's the C scale. We can build a chord on every scale tone. Left hand, same thing. Now, they're marked as whole notes, so when you're first doing this, you're probably not going to rush. But you're just going to do each one, and your hand is just kind of blocked into a shape, and you move. Now, Cockles and Mussels is a song that we sometimes skip in a normal term. We do 50% of the time. And usually when I do it, I focus on 2 lines. The reason is, lots of times the same types of material is in more than one song, and we have to pick and choose because of our time restraints. The reason I like doing some of this is because it's an example that uses the block chord stepping up as part of the harmony. So here we go. line is pretty much like the first, and the ending's a little bit different. So I'm just going over this to point out that left hand moving over. It's an example of that. It's not a bad song. It's just that, you know, we have so much time normally, and we try to like give examples and then choose songs that we work up. A song that you guys probably know is So that's another example that's not in this book. Now, I'm going to do one more song today, and this is going to be our first blues song. This particular song, page 107, is always popular each term. And why is it popular? Because it's bluesy, and you're kind of stretching out a little bit. It's bluesy rhythm. It's a swing feel, and it's just kind of a happy song. There is an E flat in it and a B flat in it. These are not in the key signature. They're not in the very beginning on the staff. They're written before the notes because this is in the key of C, which has no sharps or flats. But in blues, we have certain tones that are often sharped or flatted. It's usually, they're lowered, and the note is usually a flat note. So here we go. I'm just going to go through this, and then I'm going to give a little bit of explanation, and then I'm going to sign off. Now, I will come back and do a more detailed video of this, but I want to point out one of the first harder places is in the second line. That first measure, because of the B flat and the sound it creates with an E, the sound's a little weird. When you put the left hand in, it sounds great. But the actual pattern in the right hand, I find that often people have a little bit of trouble getting used to that because of the black note. I would suggest that you use the fingering, a 4 and a thumb. And in that second measure, you've got E flat. It's E lowered because of the flat. And as far as how your hand plays it, in the very beginning of the song, we have this. Now our thumb has to reach E flat, which is further back. Rather than twisting, just let your whole hand go back. You don't have to twist. Now, there is an exception. Sometimes men with really big hands, usually it's men that are way over 6 feet. But, you know, it could really be even, you know, anyone that's kind of larger, you know, a bigger bone structure. People with the bigger hands, sometimes when you get back into the black notes, you find that the finger just doesn't fit between them. So if you have that issue, you might need to twist a little. You might need to accommodate a little. There's always a way to do it. But I'm just going to point out the black note. And then the hardest part of the song is at the end of line 3. Make sure you play a G there. What happens is people have a hand, kind of like a pattern, and they do this. But the hand pattern changes here. So just pay attention to that. That's a G. And this is tricky. You have to slide your hand back. So those are enough details to get most of you started. And I will come back with a little bit more on this. And then I'm going to do a couple more songs back here. I had said I'm going to think of a choice. Usually the final is one song. It's 127. But because of us missing a week, I don't know that that's fair to everybody because we don't quite have enough time to cover as much. So that'll be a choice. And some of you might want to do it. But I'm going to come up with another choice that is easier. And it may be one of the blues songs, or it might be something else. I haven't really settled into that yet. I've only heard one quiz, and I haven't even heard from everybody. I really want to hear how people are doing. So with that, I'm signing off for today, and I will catch up with you later.